I have a problem. I've been watching sports wrong for my entire life. Every year, I watch and cheer for my favorite team until they inevitably either miss the playoffs or get bounced out of them prior to the championship. After that's done, I face a difficult crossroad. I could stop watching the sport entirely or pick a new team to back the rest of the way. Tuning out would just be boring, so I generally choose to cheer on a different team even if it doesn't feel the same. Here's where my problem lies. Every time, without fail, my brain pulls me towards the same kind of team, the underdog. For example, last fall, after my team missed the MLB playoffs, there were only 2 teams I wouldn't consider underdogs. That left me with 10 others to cheer for. I watched as one by one they all got beat down until eventually the 2 favorites made the World Series. Whatever, you can't win them all. This winter, after my NFL favorite was bounced in the first round, I faced a very similar scenario. 2 teams that had recently won championships and were favorites this year versus 6 hungry underdogs. Once again, both favorites made the Super Bowl. I don't watch hockey much, but I did tune into the Stanley Cup Finals to see one team coming off a championship just last season versus a team that hadn't won in 35 years. I think you get where this is going. Underdogs are underdogs for a reason. They're not supposed to win. Sports have no justice. I see it everywhere I look. In 2019, Astros pitcher Framber Valdez plunked Mike Trout with this pitch. Ever since, Trout has been on a mission to get his revenge. But even someone who is widely considered to be one of the greatest players to ever touch the diamond isn't immune to the wrath of the sports gods. Out of the 68 pitchers Mike Trout has faced at least 20 times, Valdez has held him to easily his lowest batting average. From the first time they squared off, it took Trout 4 whole years to get his first hit, and even when he did, it was just a single. The results of these games aren't any help to his struggle either. In matchups between the Angels and the Astros where both Trout and Valdez play, the Angels are a pitiful 1-7, a 12.5% win rate. But with enough time and effort, all bad things will even themselves out, and Trout proved it when he drove this pitch deep into right field. Just kidding, he got robbed of his revenge, missing a home run by inches. That far away from true karma. You hit me, I'll get you back. But that's not how it works, especially in the game of baseball. You see, when Valdez hit Trout with that pitch, it's not like Trout could come out the next inning and hit Valdez right back. Trout is a hitter and Valdez is a pitcher. Pitchers don't hit and batters don't pitch. This hasn't, however, always been the case. Nolan Ryan, one of the greatest pitchers of all time, played all the way from the late 60s to the early 90s, back when pitchers had to be in the batting order if they wanted to continue pitching. Ryan was notorious for hitting batters on purpose for nearly no reason at all. He would hit batters with his 100-mile-an-hour fastball for reasons as trivial as digging their cleats into the dirt. Ryan hit 158 batters in his career, many of them intentionally, but never was hit himself, despite having nearly 1,000 career plate appearances. I'm not sure if this is a result of other pitchers being afraid of him, or if it's just dumb luck, but he definitely deserved some karma that was never delivered. It could be that the sports gods just hate justice being served. Earlier this year, on February 1st, breaking news shook the sports community. Luka Doncic, arguably a top 3 player in the NBA, was traded out of the blue from the Dallas Mavericks to the Los Angeles Lakers. The 25-year-old superstar, coming off a finals run mere months ago, was shipped off to LA for a 31-year-old injury-prone center, a shooting guard averaging 8 points a night, and a 15-inch Capri Sun. Why would they ever do such a thing, you may ask? Some think it's because he had conditioning issues. Some think it's because Adam Silver wants the Lakers to be more relevant. Some think it's because Nico Harrison is an idiot. I personally think none of these are the real explanation. There's a great video on YouTube posted by Atrioc that details this whole situation further, so I really recommend watching his video if you want to learn more, but I'll summarize the situation for you. The Dallas Mavericks are owned by a family that became extremely wealthy with their Las Vegas Sands casino empire. This family has been fighting and lobbying for years now to get gambling legalized in Texas so they can expand their casino empire into their home state. Buying the Mavericks was an investment for them, not to make the team better, but to make more money when gambling gets legalized, likely by building casinos either near or attached to the Mavs arena. This would help them attract people to their casinos others by way of the Mavericks' proximity and endorsement. Now, how does this relate to the trading of Luka Doncic? It's actually pretty simple. The Adelsons have no interest in the team itself, so they want to spend as little money as possible on salaries and operations overall. Luka Doncic was approaching the end of his contract, meaning the Mavericks were about to have to re-sign him for the league maximum in order to keep him in Dallas. This would be an absolute no-brainer for teams looking to win, as Doncic is one of the best active players and had just led the Mavs to the finals a year prior. For the Adelsons though, Doncic is nothing but a massive money sponge. I believe they told GM Nico Harrison to trade him away however he could in order to cut future payroll costs. Dallas is set to have the 10th lowest payroll in the NBA according to Basketball Reference, and I wouldn't be shocked if that becomes even lower as the years progress. The injustice covered here, though, isn't regarding Luka Doncic or even the Mavericks fan base who just lost their star player. An ownership team so blatantly willing to throw their fan base under the bus for a couple extra billion to land in their pockets is diabolical. A team like that deserves to tank out of relevance, lose revenue, and be forced out of ownership by the fans after years of disappointing basketball. They deserve the worst, but as I said, karma likes to stay out of sports. With just 1.8% odds, the Dallas Mavericks won the draft lottery this year and therefore rights to pick the undisputed #1 player in the country, Cooper Flagg. This is a kid that will, barring something unforeseen, be a superstar for years to come and bring relevance right back to Dallas and right back to where they were when they stumbled upon Luka just 7 years ago. Was it likely? No. Was it deserved? No. Did it happen? Of course it did. I'm gonna interrupt the video for a moment here. I didn't start writing this video meaning for it to drive into real, serious issues, but I feel like when talking about injustice in sports, there's a serious topic that shouldn't go unmentioned. Every year, there are dozens of athletes that pop up in the news for committing serious, unforgivable crimes, usually domestic abuse of a woman or a child. If this were to happen to somebody with a normal job, it would usually mean they get fired and then have a hard time getting jobs in the future due to their criminal history. In general, the punishment fits the crime. This is not the same with sports. In 2014, Adrian Peterson was charged with felony child abuse after visuals surfaced of his son with cuts and bruises all over his body as a result of Peterson's quote-unquote discipline. You'd think such a crime would warrant a lifetime suspension from the league, but after he was able to get his charges reduced to misdemeanor reckless assault, he was only suspended for a year, coming back to the Vikings in the 2015 season. With the NFL being a private, independent company, they had every ability to ban him despite the fact that he served no jail time, but they decided not to. Visual proof of him abusing his 4-year-old wasn't enough. Although that may be one of the most extreme examples, it doesn't stop with Peterson. So many athletes get away with similarly heinous crimes, just usually without the level of evidence we saw with Peterson. Tyreek Hill is a present example of this. In 2015, he pled guilty of domestic assault and battery by strangulation of his pregnant girlfriend. 1 year later, he was drafted by the Kansas City Chiefs. In 2019, he was investigated for the battery of his 3-year-old son. That same year, he signed a $54 million extension with Kansas City. In 2023, he was again investigated for assault and battery, followed by another contract extension, this time worth $90 million with the Dolphins. Finally, earlier this year, his wife called the police on him for bruising her and aggressively grabbing their daughter during an argument. Tyreek has not been suspended from the NFL once for any of these actions. Instead, he's enjoyed both constant positive media attention and the roughly $120 million he's made so far from NFL contracts alone. I feel like sports culture has an ongoing issue with normalizing abuse, especially against women. Young men understandably find it upsetting when their favorite players get accused of such acts and automatically run to their defense, trying to defend them in any way possible instead of listening to the victim or even standing back to reserve judgment. I know it can be hard to think of somebody you look up to doing such terrible things, but I'd suggest fans to act with more empathy towards alleged victims. It'll never make things better to harass these people for speaking out. I apologize if this section sullied the vibe, but I feel like it had to be addressed considering the main topic. Anyways, back to the video. As of recent, underdogs just can't seem to catch a break. In the past 8 months, we've seen the Dodgers win their 8th World Series, Ohio State win their 9th national championship, a matchup in the Super Bowl that we just had 2 years prior, all 4 1 seeds in the Final Four of March Madness, Florida win back-to-back Stanley Cups, the heavy favorite Thunder knock off Indiana in 7, and now LSU win their 8th College World Series. It's been far too long since a real underdog has come through and won a championship. All of these expected endings have had me questioning if I've been watching sports wrong this whole time. Why root for an underdog when they definitionally will always have a lower chance of winning? So many people take the bandwagon route, and how much can I really blame them? They get to win and win and win without fail. Maybe it'd make me happy too if I tried rooting for the top dogs for once. But there's a reason us sports fans tend to gravitate towards the underdog. I again find myself coming to a similar conclusion and lesson I've come to in a few of my previous videos. The reason I find sports so captivating and the reason I'm able to get so emotionally invested is because there's always a chance of something incredible happening. Not a high chance, not something you'll see every day, month, year, or even decade, but there's always a chance this will be the year someone overcomes a 3-0 series deficit. There's always a chance David will take down Goliath. And there's always a chance Mike Trout will finally catch a barrel off those cheater Astros. It's been a rough year for us believers in the underdog, but the longer we wait, the better it'll feel when somebody finally breaks the seal. As always, thank you for listening.